congrats on this show. You had me at the title. Mindy, is the show as risque as the title says? And please say yes.
What a good question. I mean, it is pretty risque. I'm a little bit more conservative than Justin, I think, and definitely when I watch it, I'm like blushing. Justin, what do you think?
I kind of feel somewhere in the middle. There's parts where I'm like, oh God, like this is so different than writing an ensemble comedy where people joke about funny things happening at work. But it's still exciting to pursue kind of cheeky fun for a first time.
Well, as a mother with 2 girls in college, I'm going to be watching closely. But Mindy, when I think about Never Have I Ever, you pulled from your life from high school. Just give me one storyline, and Justin, you might have to help me here, that pulls from your life, Mindy. Give me something at Dartmouth.
Something at Dartmouth. I think trying very hard to be friends with my roommates, there's a lot of that. I'll say that's my answer.
Any from the Dog Day Players or the Rockapellas?
Well, so Justin and I were both in a cappella groups when we were in college. And I think because we're scarred by that in some ways, or at least I am a little bit scarred by that, I think we kind of tried to minimize a cappella in the show, right, Justin? Because there's so much college a cappella out there. What do you think?
It's straight up made fun of in the show. There's one line where someone yells out, isn't a cappella cool? And that's me, that's my voice. But it is immediately made fun of. Yeah, we can't be a show that's saying a cappella is a cool thing to be, because Mindy and I know from personal experience that it wasn't.
Yeah. Justin and Mindy, can I get a little a cappella? I mean, could we harmonize on something? I don't want to put you on the spot, but are we feeling something?
Kid, I think I would rather die. It's like.
Meanwhile, I'm pass me the microphone. I sound like
it's perfect, baby. And then Mindy, I think about the high school show, this one about college. Next, maybe a show about motherhood. Something with Kit and Spencer, my girl Kit. Anything, would motherhood be the next thing? Justin's all in.
I would love to watch that show. I feel so close to it right now. I mean, right now I'm just getting by, but if I can get some introspection and perspective on my situation, I would love to do a show about motherhood.
Justin, what are people going to love about this show? What's the pull?
I think the pull is that it's a show about 4 young women who get to be silly and goofy and funny together. I think that's a thing that Mindy and I were so excited to write, because we don't see a ton of it. The girls who are in this this age group as performers are usually walking into scenes and saying a couple lines as the girlfriend character. So it was really fun to think of what's a huge funny set piece that we could just throw one of these young performers and then watch them kill it, because the cast, hopefully, as you've seen, is just phenomenal.
Love the cast. And Mindy, I love watching you create. We've talked about it before, but I'm such a fan. And I think back to The Office at 24 years old, being one of 8 writers and the only female. Reflecting back on that, what do you make about where you are now?
I feel really proud. I think that was such a great writer's room. And there's a lot of people I really admire who came out of that. And I am such a naturally competitive person that sets really high standards for ourselves. And, partnering with Justin and working on the show, I think this is one of the best projects I've ever worked on. I'm so proud of it. I'm really excited for people to see it.
Guys, a little housekeeping as we get going here. Did you see your friend, both of y'all's friend, BJ Novak has become the international spokesperson for every product on the planet? Yeah. And what do we make of this? And why is he the perfect one to do face paint? And I don't even know what else.
Did you hear about that? Yeah. There's a New York Times article about how, BJ's face mistakenly from a still from The Office was public domain. So now in all over the world, it's used on products without him knowing. So I'm jealous, because I think there's probably not a bigger compliment than that internationally you're seen as good looking enough to sell products.
Any product. Justin, what do you make of this? What is it about BJ's face and hair? Let's not forget the hair.
It's so funny to me, because it seems like a B story you would see on a sitcom. It's so out there and outrageous that I saw the headline and was like, well, this can't be real. But it is. Yeah.
And then Justin, can we gaze at Mindy's hair? I hate to be vacuous over here, but I saw you post getting Jennifer Aniston's new product line. Tell me everything. How does it smell? How is it?
Oh, the Lola V.
Lola V.
Yeah, Lola V is so good. I started with their detangler and it works. I am like, it basically looks like Chris McMillan is doing my hair now. Chris McMillan is Jennifer Aniston's celebrity hairstylist. I'm so obsessed with her look that I actually know that. Justin, did you know that about Chris McMillan?
I didn't know that. I don't really get too deep into hair world.
Okay.
not in a couple years.
Yeah.
Mindy, did you know her well before coming on the morning show? You're so juicy and sensational on there. You're kind of playing the Kit character, right? You always said Kit sounded like a feisty reporter. So I love this for you.
Yeah, I do. I think my character is, I think, really infuriating, and that's really fun to come onto a set and just irritate Reese and Jen Aniston and Billy Crudup. Like that feels like I was born to play that role. No, I had met her a couple times before that. Obviously, I'm a lifelong fan. And then I did the show and then did the reunion. I give like one of my like, what does the Friends mean to me? So it's, I think, probably weird for her to have someone who she's working with who is like unabashedly knows everything about her career. But you know what? That's just the lot of Jennifer Aniston. She has to deal with that a lot.
And Justin, give us a little more about you in high school. How did you tap in to the high school girl mentality? What was it?
I mean, I didn't. I mean, I was like, you know, a closeted gay boy through high school and college who was like best friends with girls. So I was the character you don't see much in this show, who's like sitting there with them at brunch being like, you did what? Like, so it was funny for me to just be able to pull some of those experiences from my like best friend group, but then just to hand it off to people like Mindy, who like always has the perfect pitch for everything, almost to an infuriating way where you're like, what's the right thing to do? What's the right thing to do? And then it's like, it should be this. And you're like, damn, it really should be that. And our fantastic writing staff who can relate to being women in college because they once were women in college.
You know what I love? And again, I've only seen the trailer aspect of it, but and the title sucked me right in. But these are smart young women, right? The four main characters that I look, they're very bright. And I hope it's how I feel about my girls, right? They're sexy, but they're smart and they're funny. Like it's all encompassing nowadays. So that was my favorite part. These girls were quick and smart.
What I think, thank you for saying that, because I think what was really important to us was that the girls are ambitious. Obviously, they want boyfriends and love with romance, but they're ambitious about academics. Yeah. They're ambitious about, one of them is on the varsity soccer team. One wants to be in the campus comedy newspaper. So like they have big wants and desires. And, you know, I feel like growing up, whenever you'd see a movie about college and rambunctious young people wanting to have sex, it's kind of that like Animal House, like, and those movies are so funny, like, you know, that kind of like fratty type of thing. And we don't really get to see that for girls. In fact, you don't get to see a lot of college stuff.
No.
And it's such a juicy, fun period of time that Justin and I were like, let's try to do it and try to do like, yes, they're horny, but they're also just like want to have like the best, they want to get into the best grad schools and the best classes. And so that was really fun to do characters with big personalities that were girls.
Well, congrats on everything. Justin, very nice to meet you. Mindy, I came in to interview you because I was like, you know, you're my favorite. So congrats to both of you. I'm watching every episode. I'll dial back in.